Good morning, everybody. It's my first time in Udaipur, and this makes it even more special to mark it with dialogues, which I'm certainly going to cherish in my living memory. Uh, Thank you, Sanjay, Nina, Vedamon, and the entire team who has been so generous in welcoming. So, thank you. This presentation, which I've called Designing a Diverse Modernism, explores in a concise manner how modernism, while shaped by Western and colonizing vision, can be reinterpreted through local contexts. Chandigarh serves as a pivotal example, a crucible where global modernism ideals were transformed into living realities. This is home to us, and our practice is germinated in the context of Chandigarh. I will be interspersing the presentation with photographs of the capital complex and Chandigarh that I've personally taken over the years. I may take the liberty of loosely tying some provocative facets of the glorious precinct of the capital. This is a very old model done by the local carpenters in wood of the Capitol complex.
Subscribe to watch more such insightful videos.
This is a fascinating paper clay model that shows the contours, the terrain, and the lower foothills modeled by skillfully crumbling the card paper and clay. This, as most of us know, is the assembly building. Now, the enamel door, everybody is in awe of this, was hand painted by Corbusier himself in his workshop in Paris and airlifted to India. So, this is nearly a 25-foot tall grand scale pivot door, which was meant to be ceremonial entryway to the assembly building. Trivia: Corbusier wrote to Nehru and asked him as to what symbols should the door represent, to which Nehru replied that Corbusier imagined them himself. So he designed the symbols representing a new India. So it showcases a polychromy, the relation of man and the cosmos. Imagery like the sun path, lunar eclipse, and the equinox. This also shows the power of color in architecture. This is a full shot of the assembly building. This is the Punjab and Haryana High Court with the iconic pylons that most of us have seen in person or certainly in photographs. So, building on the legacy, our practice draws from modernist principles but recenters them within the Indian context, making place, culture, and community primate. And Chandigarh being a rare example of modernism translated to Indian soil. It absorbed Western ideals, but the people, climate, culture that shaped it. It became a living, breathing adaptation. For me personally, Chandigarh is not a museum of modernism. It's a process. It shows how ideas evolved when they encounter context. That's the essence of diverse modernism. For the very first time, with the Foundation Chandigarh that we set up last year, we managed to open the iconic Fence of Consideration to general public. We hosted citizens in the backdrop of the grand open hand. This inspiring bit of architecture is meant to be celebrated on a daily basis rather than keep it under barbed wires. This was the Tower of Shadow that we converted into an exhibition space for some of the photographs that I had personally taken over the years. So it is such a beautiful scale, and we try to maintain the lands, and we kind of illustrated it with photographs. The pylon that you see on the left hand side is actually an existing column, and we only put a like a lantern to circumscribe it. This is an interesting cricket match happening in the backdrop of the Secretariat building. So, this is the sort of life that we are interested in. So, coming to some of our work, this is the house in Chandigarh that my dad built. He was a psychologist by profession, but certainly imbibed the architectural legacy of Chandigarh. We did some edits to the house few years back, and this also houses a atelier on the upper floors. So we do delve into very experimental materiality. We play around with the newer materials, expanded metals, and some ironmongery inspired by the 70s industrial. So this is the arrival lounge, the treatment of which is fairly sculptural. We did in situ mosaic with these two totems that kind of come up, and behind you see the sculptural wall. This is done with 63 pieces of metal inflated pieces. There was a lot of experiments done with the materials. As you can see, the floor actually has the urban grid of Chandigarh inlaid. And if you go closer, you see this brass line that is actually the rivulet that crosses the Chandigarh master plan. It's called the Patiali Ki Rao. And we've done that, expressed that in brass. The rest is all stainless steel with these nodes done in brass as well, with the Zaha Hadid on the left hand side. Some brutalist elements on the wall. This is labor of love, and we love doing it. This is reverse biophilia, one of the areas called the nomadic zone. So we tried to really create a very atmospheric environment around that. All the furniture here is on caster wheels, so it allows for a lot more collaborative sort of usage patterns. The little pod that you get a glimpse of on the left hand side is actually, it houses the boardroom, and it takes inspiration from the 60s industrial aesthetic, Arki Graham's Walking City, and Marty Suranon's work. Almost whimsical. And the color palette also resonates with the fundamental principles of Corbusier's polychromy in color. The stringer of the staircase is all suspended on steel cables. There is cabinet inspired for the likes of Charlotte Perrinan. This is another office that we did in the historic modernist block of Madhya Marg in Chandigarh. I think here the infiltration of light actually becomes a protagonist and a hero. These are some of the residences that we've done. We love putting in some cues of modernist sensibility. The miniature brick sculpture that you see on the screen, some tapestry in silk. This is a 3D printed pavilion that we printed for the same company, EVH. And actually, you can see that we managed to achieve a very sensuous, very free flowing form with a seemingly rigid material like concrete. We did some furniture also. So this acts like a spill out space for the employees to come and have various different things. So this is our studio in the metaverse. This was mentioned as India's first metaverse studio, and globally is one of the top five names amongst practices like Zaha Hadid, Willis, and big architects. This was envisioned to act as a design laboratory for testing ideas at an urban and architecture scale. This has cues from Chandigarh and is a 3D printed structure. The terrace is a surreal space with lilacs of the sakura blossom and some symbolism from Chandigarh, like the Perez on rich kangaroo chair that you see there. Thank you.